Hi guys. We've been talking durable functions. We spoke about what durable functions are. We showed you how to set it up. We spoke about the orchestrator entry function, couple of activity functions that you need to orchestrate through. We've went through it. That's the code block that we have there. Now what I'm gonna do is take it a level up. You guys saw that I was actually hard coding my name there, so I want to take it a level up and see if we can do something more interesting. Cool. This thing is an HTTP request, the entry point. So what I'll effectively do is I will let's get rid of this particular line of console because we saw that it works. So what I'm gonna say is var, then I'll say message, which is equals to let's say await my request. Right, so that's the HTTP method that we have there. Then I will go to the content itself. Then I would say read a string async. That pretty straightforward. You know what it does? It reads whatever request that I have there, or whatever request coming in, read it into a string variable. And cool, I will say it's cool. Let's create some sort of my name, surname object. Right, is equals to then I'm going to use JSON convert dot y. It's not like that. Let me just see something. Okay, import JSON convert, and then I'll say deserialize my object. Then if I deserialize my object, I need to give it some sort of a type. Right, then I'm actually deserializing my message. Right, I am not going to be very fancy and split my classes and all that, but what I'll do here is I'll say public class. I'll say personal details for argument's sake. Right, and on that class I will have parameters called public string name, public string, I don't want description, I want surname. Right, surname, that's fine. Personal details is effectively what I will deserialize here. Right, and that's my function. I'm not changing anything there, but I have this object, and now I want to actually pass in this object into my durable function. How do I do that? I effectively say cool, give me that object, pass it into, whenever you're creating a new instance of that orchestrator, give me that payload that you got. Right, then if I go there and say cool, in my orchestrator I need to basically do something. Right, I want to get my input. So what should I do? I can say okay, cool, give me var, I'll say person instance. I don't like using the word instance. I'll say var person, then I'll say cool, that I actually wanted to, from my context, what am I looking for? I am looking for an input of type personal details. Right, if I do that, it should do some sort of magic for me. Right, then on that person object, if you remember what I was passing in here, I was passing in that dot name. Right, and then I'm effectively going to say that dot surname. Right, then I'll show you guys getting to the third portion of it. So cool, that's my name and surname. What I expect is when I execute this function, it should just effectively log my name and surname. So cool. Local settings, I've never opened this with you guys. I'm never gonna define it now, because I hope that if you're working with durable functions, you understand it to some degree. What I'm doing here is just removing a bunch of logs on my workspace, so that we can see that it's actually using my name and my surname. Cool. Not doing anything much, so I just added a class, read my HTTP method, passed in the object, and basically reading it from context in my orchestrator. Right, go for it. Durable function recording, that function is executing. I need to look at that says name surname. So the function is executing on the side. Let me just see. That's my console there. What I need to do here is just say name, then have another property here that says surname, and I'll put my surname on a different line and I'll remove that. Make sense? Cool. Then I will send that into the API. Where do I have the breakpoint? So effectively that's that. I will just have another breakpoint here and I'll say cool, go for it. If I look at my name surname object, it has my name and surname. Then I'll just quickly remove this breakpoint here and go and say cool, execute. We've seen, wow, let's go through it again. It is executing my name, so it'll write my name. It's going back to console. It says your name is Diggerab according to the parameter that I passed. Goes back to the orchestrator. In the orchestrator then says cool, I am doing something called a replay. So if it's doing a replay, it knows that it has done something. So now it will go in and say cool, I'm gonna get it from the context again. I'm gonna get the person object and I'll pass in something. Right now it's passing in my surname, then it goes back and does a replay. So that's my surname there. And if I continue, it basically goes out of the loop, out of the flow, and says cool, your name is that, your surname is that. Makes a lot of sense, right? So now this is actually not the most interesting portion that I want to get to. What I want to get into now, let's say for example that context is set however it is, I can actually update the input itself into my next iteration. So let's say for example I've done that and I wanted to do something with, let's say for example my date of birth. I wanted to do something with my date of birth somewhere. So cool, I will get into that just now. I'm gonna stop this recording, do that particular flow as well. Cool, thank you guys.